Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Intro to Zoom and Google Meet. So this is an intro class that we talk about how to do your settings in Zoom, some of the awesome things you can do in Zoom, breakout rooms. We do that for the first hour with questions and things like that. Then the second hour, we go to Google Meet and we talk about the different ways to set up your Meet, some extensions that may help you use Meet. We also talk about how you can do breakout rooms using Google Classroom in Meet and all those good things. And then we're gonna come back together and answer some more questions about Meet. So that's how this is gonna work. On Twitter, I'm at Educator Alex. You see it at the top corner. And you can go to my website, educatoralexander.com, and to sign up for the newsletter and anything else that you may want to get from me. This is all the ways you can contact me. Again, hello, I'm Dr. Desiree Alexander. I'm very happy to do this presentation for you guys. I know some of you have been to my Educator Alexander webinars where either I was presenting or one of my guest presenters were presenting. So thank you for coming back. If this is your first time, welcome, darling. I'm Desiree. I am from Louisiana. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, which is North Louisiana right now. But I have lived in Louisiana, Texas, Army Brat, so South Carolina, and all these good stuff, all these good places. So that should have given you time to take a picture or write this down. So all the way you can get to me on Twitter, I'm at Educator Alex. At all other social media, Educator Alexander. My website is educatoralexander.com. Email Desiree at educatoralexander.com. So as long as you remember Educator Alexander, you'll be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. So hopefully we've had a second to take that. So I'm just gonna run through some other webinars that we have coming up. We have a lot going on this week. This week is insane. We just had the Rethink Learning Summit on Monday and Tuesday. Today we have this. Tomorrow we have a couple of events I'll talk about in a second, but just to stick to free webinars, Friday is the last one in the Tech You Can Do series. We did a whole series this summer with Sarah Kiefer, who's amazing. And she taught an intro to all of these Google tools that you see. You can go and get the video. Most of the webinars that I do are recorded like this one, and they'll be on the YouTube channel. So the last one is other apps. So she's going to talk about like Google Sites and a whole bunch of other apps besides the ones you see on the list. Then we have Saturday, we have DEI in library communities. So it's going to be talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion now in library communities during COVID and beyond. So it should be a really good panel. Then on July 31st, which I think is next week already, we have Microsoft Teams. I don't do a lot for Microsoft, even though I'm an MIEE and all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad to kind of pull in Microsoft. And then classroom management is on August 1st, August 8th, misinformation in the information age. I think every single person on earth should take that. And then Bitmojis. I got a call like, do a Bitmoji. I was like, oh, okay. And there's nobody greater with Bitmojis than Jen Hall. So I was like, I'm not doing that. Jen Hall is going to do that because she's amazing. So I asked her and she very nicely accepted to do that Bitmoji one for us. Then we have differentiation with assignments in Google Classroom. Inky is, love me some Inky, and she's going to be going through Google Forms and some other stuff to how you can differentiate your assignments in Google Classroom. And then templates for teachers. So a really good website with a whole bunch of templates and how they create it. And that's again with Sarah Kiefer and Beth Kingsley. So we're very, very excited about those. Still this week is LaQ Cares. LaQ is the Louisiana Tech group. I used to be on the boards. I love my LaQ, and they're doing a free event, so you don't have to be in Louisiana. Everybody can come to this. I think it's right there. 23rd and 24th. I'm going to be presenting tomorrow for them. So look into that. You have to become a member, but it's free to become a member. And then the Indiana Connected Educators, the Indiana Tech group is doing like a whole week. So, and it's completely free. And they have so many sessions. So I'm going to be doing a session for them tomorrow as well. And if you're like, Desiree, you're going so fast, what are the sessions? It's all on the website. All the same website. That's why I go through this very, very quickly. If you have a pre-K through third grade child or student, you can sign them up for Kids Academy Summer Camp where they can do some learning virtually. So it's free for educators because you'll get, I think it's like 3 months for free. And then for parents, if you don't have that education behind you, parents is $20. So still not a bad deal. And then we have the Irving, North Texas Ed Camp for librarians. It's free if you're in Region 10 in Texas. It's paid for everyone else. I don't think it's a lot of, I don't know how much, just go to the link, you'll see. But I'm going to be presenting 2 sessions for them, so I'm excited about that. And then BER has a series of, like just a plethora of things that you can go to. And I'm doing the ELA distance learning specifically for ELA teachers, August 3rd, 6th, and 7th. It doesn't matter what time zone you're in. It's just that's when we're going to start. We're going to follow that time zone on these 3 days. But I'll also do like a plain distance learning and all of that, so you can go check all that out. Whew. At the end, we're going to do an evaluation. You don't have to worry about this right now, but the evaluation is how you get your certificate. If you're watching this on YouTube, the only people that get certificates are people that watch us live. Also, if we have any links or anything like that, it's going to be in the description. So if you scroll down to the description right under the video and click show more, you'll see some links there if we have any to give. Okay, so that's it. I am ready to get into some Zoom. I don't know about you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. So that way I can go ahead and do what I want to say. I'll go ahead and share where you can actually see Zoom. So, and that's going to be my first tip. So guys, if we have anybody that came in late and you're on video, you can go ahead and stop your video. Let's see, I'm trying to stop some of them for you. Okay, so moving on. So when you share your screen on Zoom, because I can't show you this part of it, but when you share your screen on Zoom, you click the share button and that little box pops up, right? So, and I hate that I can't show you, this like the only thing that I can't show you. But you click the box and the box pops up. There's 2 little buttons at the bottom. One says share computer sound and one says optimize screen sharing for video clip. 2 little, and I know people are taking notes, so 2 little buttons at the bottom. Share computer sound, optimize screen sharing for video clip. Share computer sound will make sure that your kiddos and whoever you're doing meetings for can hear the volume coming out of your computer. I see people playing videos and the volume is kind of like this. And when you can hear, but it's like, right? And that's because I know they didn't click that button. I want to stop them and be like, just go click the button. So if you click share computer sound, it's going to sound so much better when you share those videos. Now, it's not going to, help the the buffering of the video, but it will help with the sound. The sound should not be a problem on Zoom because they have that little button. The second button that says optimize screen sharing for video clip, if you click that, your students will be able to see some of the windows of Zoom. So like the toolbar that you move around, to get out of the way, the chat box and all that kind of stuff. If you want people to actually see that, click optimize, that's what I'm clicking now, click optimize screen sharing for video clip. And then you'll be able to see my toolbar and I can actually teach you Zoom even while I'm in Zoom. Another tip, this is not an intro thing, but it's a tip that I've learned. When you click that share screen button, you'll see at the very top, you have basic, advanced, and files. Well, if you click advanced, you can actually share music without sharing your screen. So you can share music without sharing your screen. So anytime you wanted to share audio, but I don't want anything, like I want my students to still see me. I want it to still be discussion mode, but maybe I want to play some background music, right? You can do it that way. Click advanced and then click music or computer sound only. You'll also see content from a second camera, all kinds of different stuff that you can share. So play around with these settings. Okay, play around. Don't be afraid to click. Get with your friend and say, hey, come with me and let's play around clicking on all these buttons and see what happens. So I'm going to share my screen where I'm optimizing screen for video clips, so that way you'll be able to see my Zoom. So I'm going to click share. And the first thing I want to get into are the Zoom settings. So let me see if I have any questions before we get into Zoom settings. This is a really good point, is if you want to work with me, go log into your Zoom account. I'm going to show you the free Zoom and the pay Zoom. Of course, the pay Zoom has a couple of more bells and whistles. So if you pay for it or your district pays for it, you do get a couple of more, you know, settings and things like that. So I'm going to see if we have any questions. Yay! Oh, Sarah's here. I spoke about you. You're awesome. Let's see. Can you share us from your other device? Can you share us from your other device? I'm not sure what that means. Okay. All right. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. So if you're working with me, that should have given you time to kind of go and pull up your Zoom account. You can actually go ahead and set your settings while we're going through them. Okay. So you do have to create a Zoom account. Once you create your account, every time you log in, you're going to be right here. Sorry, you see I've been clicking around. You're going to be right here at the profile screen. So when you do it, you're going to be right here at the profile screen. And this is my free account, so it's nothing. Everything that should be private is kind of like grayed out, so we're good. If you ever want to see, if you have multiple accounts and you want to see like, well, what account am I on right now? If you come up here and click on, I'm going to say your picture because I'm going to show you how to put a picture in here. But if you come here and click right here, it'll show you, oh, I'm actually on my, oh no. I thought it was going to get angry and it wasn't going to let me log into 2 different accounts on the same. Okay, well, we'll just log out and log back in. We'll be okay. All right, I want to show you the free account first. Log, ooh. I don't know what that was. I don't know if y'all heard it or if it was just me. Logging into Zoom. Ooh. All right, so this is my, okay, I don't know what just happened, but this is my free account. So I can tell that is if I go and click on the picture, you'll see that it says basic. Yeah, basic. Okay, so I know that I'm on my free account. So I'm going to click on profile. First thing is put a picture for your Zoom. Okay, now it doesn't have to be a picture of you, but put something there. It just looks better, especially if when you're off camera. It will allow, like, you know, when you're off camera and you see some people have pictures and other people just have like this weird symbol or something. Well, put a picture. So this is where you come to do that. You just come here, you go ahead and hit change, and you just upload the picture. Okay, so upload, go find your picture. I'm gonna change mine to Baby Groot right now. I love me some Baby Groot. All right, so you see I can move this box. Oh, I guess that's the full thing, I guess. Let's see. There we go. So it can only be so big. So I'm moving the box. So this is all I'm going to be able to get. And I'm going to hit save. So now every time I log into a Zoom account, unless the person who created the Zoom account does something different, when I log into a Zoom account, that's the picture that's going to show. Okay, so that's how you do that. You can also come and edit your name. So I can click edit and put whatever name I want and all the other information you put when you are setting up your account. 2 big things to do. If you don't do anything else I tell you, put a picture, make sure your name is right. Because we have so many people that join sessions and their name is like Pooh Bear and Desiree's iPhone and all that. I'm like, please stop. So name your Zoom, and even if you're on the phone and you log in to your app, you'll still have your name. So go and change your name. Make sure you have a picture. If you don't have a Zoom account at all, make a free Zoom account. It's going to help. Okay, and it's free. So now I'm going to click on, and then, you know, you can kind of look around, but most of the other stuff will be fine. So I'm going to click on meetings now. So this is where you come to actually schedule a meeting. And you see I don't have any meetings because I only use this account for certain things. But you can schedule your meetings here. And I'm going to show you what happens after your meeting has already happened, especially if you make a mistake with the date in your meeting. Okay? Webinars you're never going to click on unless you have the webinar account. The webinar account is different from the meeting account. So if you're just listening to kind of a Zoom novice, and I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means, and guys, put stuff in the chat box. Like if you're like, ooh, like I do it this way, put it in the chat box. Is it blurry for everyone? Cheryl says it's blurry. I don't think it's anything I can really do, but let me know if it's blurry. So webinars, so if you hear somebody saying like, oh, you can do this in Zoom, well, maybe webinars. So I always ask them, are you talking about Zoom meetings or Zoom webinars? Because they are different. Recordings, if you record your meetings, you have cloud and you have local recordings. So if you record to the cloud, you only have a certain amount of space. So keep that in mind. You know, make sure that you're reading like how much space you have and all that good stuff. If you record locally, which means like you're recording to your computer, sometimes you can come here and find the recording. And I say sometimes because it's a little fickle. I found it's a little fickle. And we're going to start in settings. Yeah, Zoom is it 40 or 45 minutes? I thought it was 45 minutes, so maybe it's 40. Yeah, 40 minutes. Tanya asks, if I have a paid version, do I want to create a free version? I'm going to tell you why it may be helpful to. Okay, because I have the paid version and you see I have a free account. So I'm going to tell you why it may be helpful when we get to some tips and tricks. So settings, guys, this is, if I can do anything, is bring you through some of these settings. Do I know what every setting does? No, I don't. That's why this is the intro class. So, but some of the settings are really cool. And it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I wish Zoom would. And then you search and you're like, it can, you just got to go turn it on. So this is the free account. I'm going to show you like 2 more settings in the paid account. So first of all, these are your filters. So if I wanted to only look at in meeting, I could just click that and it's just going to scroll down for me. We're just going to start at the top and just scroll down ourselves. Okay. So first thing, waiting room. I do suggest turning this on. Excuse me. All that means is when you create a meeting, the waiting room will be turned on. You can always turn it off. So what the waiting room is when the ones who came on time today, you know, you came in and then you sat in the waiting room. So it just gives me time to like get myself together. It gives me time to talk. If I have a guest presenter, like me and the guest presenter can talk while you're just kind of waiting. You know, you don't want to see how the sausage gets made, right? Well, now you do because you're here, but you get what I'm saying. So you can kind of keep them in the waiting room. It also helps with Zoom bombing. Because if I have a registration list or something like that, or I know my kids' names, right? If I put you in the waiting room first, then I have to admit you. So I have to click admit, admit, admit. And I can be checking off a list or something like that. And if I have Michael Gary that comes in and I don't know a Michael Gary, you just gonna stay in the waiting room, boo, because I don't know who you are. You can also send messages to the waiting room. So if I wanted to send a message and go, hey, Gary Smith, who are you? Change your name so I can know who you are. I can do that. So I suggest turning it on. Require a passcode. Zoom is starting to force that to be turned on, especially for free accounts. I think for school accounts too, they just send a message that this is going to be forced. Now, the good thing about a passcode, and I don't care about you seeing that because I don't use it, but the good thing about a passcode is that when you send them the link, it's actually, the passcode is embedded in the link. So if they have the link, they won't need a code. Now, if they type in the meeting numbers, they will need a code. And I'll show you the difference between those two in a second. All right, so you see how all this is grayed out? Like it's not even, when it says locked by admin, Zoom is my admin because this is a free account. So it's like, no, boo, you're going to have this stuff. And you can see that you can change it. That's why I don't worry about you like seeing it. I can change it at any time. So this is the embed passcode in the invite link. Yes, turn it on. And that way your passcode, if they have the link, the passcode is already embedded. The good thing about that is if they click on the link, they don't have to type in the passcode. And if you have the waiting room turned on, you still don't have to worry about Zoom bomb. Now, if you don't turn on the waiting room, then you probably do want them to have the passcode. But it's one of those things where if I'm sending you the link and you're enough and you're putting it out there on social media, well, if I send you the password, you can do the same thing. So we've had people, a little tip and trick. We've had people that will say, here's the link, but you won't get the passcode until 5 minutes before the session. Just trying to keep it a little bit safer. So just a little tip. Okay, Kathy. Okay. So host video, start meetings with the host video on, completely up to you. You will be the host if you're the one that created the account. I'm gonna show you a cool tip for that too. Oh, I get so excited. This is gonna be fun. All right, so if you want your video to be on automatically, turn this on. If not, keep it off. Same thing with participant video. I always keep these off. I feel like it's very, I'm gonna try not to get into digital equity and things like that, but you know, forcing your students and forcing even adults to have their video on, in my opinion, is a no-no. You don't know what situation they have going on. You don't know what's, just stop. So I always turn these off, but you can turn them on if you want to kind of force that. And I'm not going to go through all these. Some of these you just got to read, right? So audio, there you go, computer audio. Join before host. Now this one is important. Do you want your participants to be able to join before you? If you have the waiting room turned on, then they can actually get into the waiting room. If not, then no one is going anywhere until you join that meeting. So if you want it, I like join before host because, I mean, what if I'm late? What if something happens to me? I still want you to be able to get at least into the waiting room and know that you're in the right place, right? When I turn the waiting room off, I want you to be able to come in and start talking. Like, come in and start communicating with each other, blah, blah, blah. And then when I get there, I can turn on, like, do I want screen sharing and all that kind of stuff. But you can, if I turn on join before host, turn off waiting room, then actually people can use my Zoom without me. I can set up a meeting. You can go in there and use it, but they won't be able to do certain things because they don't have a host. But if they just needed a place to go and talk to each other, done. I'll send you the link and be like, have a ball. Okay, but they won't be able to do certain things. So just keep that in mind. Enable personal meeting ID. If I never use the personal meeting ID. If you do, go ahead and put it in the chat. Okay, but I don't use it, but you got some settings for personal meeting ID. Mute participants upon entry. I always have that turned on. Like, please mute them. And that way I know that if you come on and you're like, yeah, I want a number 3 and with some potato, you turned on your mic. Because I made sure that when you got in this room, you were turned off. So if you just start doing that, I'm like, because you turned it on. Update, you can, I'm just going to kind of scroll through a little bit. So some of the stuff in the meeting that I suggest turning on: chat. So allow meeting participants to send messages visible to all participants. If you don't click this, then you wouldn't be able to see us chatting to each other. Okay. Prevent participants from saving the chat. So sometimes you go into a meeting and you can save the chat, sometimes you can't. That's because of this little guy. So if you look at your chat window right now, so click on chat. If you look at the chat window right now, you see 3 little dots at the bottom, kind of where you type. You see the 3 little dots. You can actually click that and click save chat, and you can save a copy of your chat. Now, do you want your students to do that? Do you want your participants to do that? That's up to you. I don't mind. Okay, so I leave it turned off, but I can click it at any time to say, no, I don't want you saving this chat. I thought about turning this one off. Do you want them to be able to private message each other? So it's one of those things you may want to turn off if you're dealing with students. Like, I don't want y'all having little side conversations about my hair. So up to you, but know that you do have the option to turn it off, because a lot of people don't know that they do. Auto saving chat. And I know I'm not looking at, oh, good. People are happy. Okay, good. And I know I'm not looking at all the questions, but I'm going to actually have a dedicated time for questions too, guys. But I am kind of, why would we use a personal meeting ID? Kim, I don't know. I don't use it. Again. So I would just Google it and see, because that's what I would do. So auto saving chat, I think, well, honestly, is so you don't have like the meeting ID for each meeting. I think you'll have like a personal one where you don't have a different meeting ID every time. I'm thinking that's what it is, but auto saving chat. Do you want you to auto save the chat? I turned this off one time and I was so mad because I'm used to, as soon as I stop the meeting, a folder pops up with the chat in it, and I'll send the chat to my presenters and things like that. And one time, I don't know, I was like, I don't need that box to pop up every time. And I turned it off thinking I was going to remember to save the chat, and I didn't. And I was like, turn it back on. So just something to think about. If you're not going to remember to save that chat every time, turn this on, and then it won't auto save for everybody. It's going to auto save for you. Scrolling down, file transfer. This is this is an awesome tool, guys, because you can actually send files right there in the chat. So if I come here to my chat, but you have to turn it on. And guys, I'm not getting private messages. I'm sorry. So if I wanted to send a file, you should see this on your screen. Awesome. I can come here and click file. I can get it from Google Drive, Dropbox, Microsoft. I'm just going to say from my computer, and let's see what I want to send y'all. Baby Groot. I saw somebody say they loved it. Oh, it got, there you go. So now you should see Baby Groot popped up, and you can download it. So what an awesome way. You don't have to say, click here to get the file, click here to get the handout. Nope, I can send you the handout, and you can get it right here in the chat box. But you have to turn it on. You can also say only allow specific file types. Okay, but notice when you do turn it on, participants can send files too. But the good thing is if your students do it, you'll see it. So if they send something inappropriate or something like that, you'll be able to see it and handle that. Let's see. They have like, you know, when you get off Zoom, the end, like they do like a little survey. I turn all that off. Up to you though. Screen sharing. Who can share their screen when? So number one, you probably want to turn it on so you can screen share, but you may want to say only the host can share their screen. Or if you want everyone to be able to share their screen, you can say all participants, but then you may, if you do say all participants, I strongly suggest saying the host is the only one that can share when someone else is sharing. Or you're going to have your students just overtaking the screen. Okay, so it may not be on purpose. It may just be like, oh, I wonder if this is going to work. And then they're like, oh my God. So if you're going to say all participants can share their screen, I strongly suggest saying the host is the only one that can like take over the screen when somebody else is sharing. I leave it on only the host can share. Oh my gosh, annotation. So this is one of those that I wish they would change a little bit, but it's all or nothing. So with annotation tools, that's when you can like draw on your screen and stuff like that. But notice it's the host and participants. So if you turn this on, like I didn't even know this existed when I first started using Zoom until I would do like stuff like this. And I was just get like a red mark across my screen. And I'm like, what in the world? Because people were like playing, I guess, while I was teaching. They were just like going mark the screen. So I had to turn it off. I was like, no annotation tools for me. Thank you so much. So just want to say that. If your screen is blurry, you may want to leave and come back. I think like one other person said that, so I'm not sure. All right, so whiteboard. Allow the host and participants to share whiteboard during the meeting. If you would like to have that on, when you go to share, you'll actually see a button that says whiteboard. On your Chromebook, you do not have a whiteboard option. So even if you turn it on, if your students are on a Chromebook, they won't see the whiteboard options. Just keep that in mind. Let's see. During screen sharing, the person who is sharing can allow others to control the shared content. up to you. Nonverbal feedback, I would turn that on. That's like your thumbs up and stuff like that. Some people don't even know they can turn that on and off, but it's completely up to you. Same thing with reactions. So nonverbal feedback and reactions, you can decide. This is a biggie. Allow remove participants to rejoin. If you remove somebody, do you want them to be able to come back in? I said no, but I also don't deal with students. So I say no, because if I remove you, it's probably because you did something inappropriate, you're Zoom bombing, something like that. So if I remove you, I don't want you to be able to come back into that one meeting. But if you have a student or something that, you know, now they leave, that's different. But if you remove them, so you can decide which one, you know, you want, if you want this turned on or off. Allow participants to rename themselves, completely up to you. I would say turn it on, because you can do some really cool things with naming in Zoom. It could be a nice way to group. Like you can say, hey, if you're in group 1, put a 1 dash before your name, stuff like that. But up to you. This one I do use in certain situations, and that's high participant profile picture. So you know when you turn off your camera, that picture that comes up, you can actually turn those pictures off. And in some instances, it's a really nice thing to do, especially if you want to create a space where you can turn off all pictures, have people rename themselves to all the same thing, and now you kind of have a safe space. You have a space where we don't know who's talking, we don't know, and you can kind of be honest and have that honest conversation. So just some, you know, different ways to use Zoom. Going a little bit faster in this, breakout rooms. What? We want to turn on breakout rooms. I didn't even know I had breakout rooms in my free Zoom when I was using the free Zoom. And somebody was like, breakout rooms, like, I don't have the paid one. They're like, and you just have to go turn it on. So go turn on breakout rooms. I think you won't be able to turn this on, and well, this is my free account, so apparently you can. But breakout rooms, I'm about to show you how to do breakout rooms, and you can plan your breakout rooms ahead of time as well. So closed captioning, you can turn that on. I actually do need to turn that on. Make myself a note to turn that on. But what that does is it allows people to turn on closed captioning. It'll be a button on the toolbar. So I'm going to click it. So that needs to be turned on. Oh, and when you turn stuff on, notice that it'll say like, this may affect that. So if you turn it on and something else goes turned off, this is why. They don't do that unless they give you a warning. So I'll look at that later. I think both of these have to be turned on, which is fine. Virtual background, that has to be turned on. So if you hate virtual backgrounds, turn them off. Then nobody will be able to use them. You like them, turn it on. Now I have some other stuff, but I'm just kind of scrolling through the rest of them rather quickly. And I think that's about it. All right. So those are your settings. There's a couple of other settings, but those are the ones I would strongly suggest looking at and setting up your account. When you come to set up meetings, you're going to go to schedule a new meeting. I'm not going to go through the obvious stuff like Now notice it is a 40-minute time limit if you have 3 or more participants. So if it's just one-on-one, you actually don't have that 40-minute time limit. But if you have 3 or more people in the meeting, that's when you have the 40-minute time limit. But you can come here and change the hour or minutes. You can also change the hour to 0 and just say like 15 minutes, that kind of thing. But I want to talk about recurring meeting, because I mean, this is kind of, you can just read through this, right? But recurring meeting. So if I click recurring meeting, I can say like, we're going to have a meeting once a week on what days and when does that meeting end. That link is going to stay open for that amount of time. Really helpful when you have like an ongoing class, because then you don't have to send them a new link every time. The only time I would send you a new link is if something happened to our old link, like it got compromised in some way. Okay. But look at this. This is what I learned, like playing with this. No fixed time. So what no fixed time does is it just makes a infinity link. So I made a room for myself. I think it's called like Educator Alexander meeting room. And when I have all these like random meetings, like, hey, can we meet to talk about, hey, da-da-da-da, I just send them my meeting room link. It's infinity. It never closes. It's just there for me, right? Whenever I need to throw a link at somebody, I used to come here and create a new link. Sarah's meeting, Jessica's meeting, and it was just like, right? So now I just have a meeting room. It's the same link every single time. I can make a bit.ly from it, and I can just send it at a moment's notice. Like, go ahead and click here to get into our meeting room. And if you turn off join before host, then you don't have to worry about people just like going into your meeting room and meeting without you. You don't have to worry about that because you have to be there for the room to be open. I just changed somebody's life. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back to like just a regular time and date meeting room. Meeting ID, you see what I mean by generate, or you can use your personal. So if you have this is the meeting ID that they would type in versus clicking the link. So there's two ways to get into the Zoom meeting. Click the link, or you can type in the meeting ID. So if you have a personal meeting ID, that could be something like maybe you can remember or something like that. Then they'll just use that same meeting ID for all of your Zoom meetings if you want that. Here you can change the passcode. You can turn on and off the waiting room. Same settings, like all this you can read. Down here is where you can do the enable join, mute participants, breakout room pre-assign. So I can actually assign breakout rooms ahead of time. So I can say, I want to create, and this is not something people do often, let me be honest with you, but you can do it. So I can say, hey, I want to do a breakout room, and then I can add participants. I've never done this before. You can also import it. I've never done the add ahead of time. So now I have a breakout room and that person is in my breakout room. Oh wait, did I? There you go. Now that person. So when that person signs in with that email address, they'll already be assigned to that breakout room. Now, if they decide I'm going to use a different email address, it's not going to work. So just keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind you can only do up to 200 participants at a time, ahead of time. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to remove myself. But you can do that. And then, do you want the meeting to be recorded automatically? That's a really good thing if you want to not have to worry about clicking record. You can say yes, just as soon as we get in that meeting, start recording. Okay? And then you just hit save. And all your meetings will be saved under your upcoming meetings. Once the meeting has happened, it moves to previous meeting. The reason why that's so important, not for your previous meetings, but if you put the wrong date or time and people, like let's say the meeting is today at 3 and you put yesterday at 3, that meeting is going to change to previous and it's not going to let people in. So all you have to do if that happens is go to previous, click on the meeting like I'm doing right now, and edit it. You do not have to do a whole new meeting. Come to edit this meeting and then just change the date and the time and you'll come back to a live meeting. I learned that the hard way. I used to remake meetings and I had 50,000 meetings. That's all you have to do is edit it. All right. So once you save the meeting, you have some choices down here. I'm trying to look. Oh, or not. I guess you don't have, oh, because it's a free account. So I'll show you the paid account in a second. But there you go. So you have, this is the link. This is the invite link that I will send to people. This is how they'll get on. I can also click the whole invitation and email it to people, all that good stuff. And that's about it for this. Under these, under the admin buttons, the main one, now notice you have like user admin. Look at this stuff, guys, because there's more settings and stuff under here. So look at it, look at it, look at it, see what's under there. But the one I want to show you is under, I'm thinking it's a paid thing. Yep, it's a paid thing. So I don't want to show you anything. But if you come here to billing, this is where you can actually upgrade your account. So just a little FYI. On the paid account, so see, I have a lot of meetings on here. This is the one I use. So on the paid account, you have a couple of more things you can do. Under settings, let's see if I can find it rather quickly. You can set it up to where, do private chat. If I can't find it, I'll just tell it to you. Okay, I didn't see it, but it's under here. You can make it to where you can turn on registering people. So when you have the paid account, you can actually have people register, like you registered for this in Zoom. Like I didn't have to send you a Google form to register and all that. So when you have the paid account, you can actually register people right here in Zoom. And to do that, see, I knew it was I was waiting for it to do that, to log me out of that one. It logged me. I'm going into my paid account now. I think it doesn't just save my username information. All right, so when I come here to schedule a meeting, I have another button that says registration required. If you click that, they're not going to give you a meeting link. They're going to give you a registration link. Even throughout the meeting, if people are like, oh, I lost the meeting link that Zoom emailed me, they can still click the registration link. It's going to make them fill it out, and then it's going to make them, it's going to say join now, and they can click it. It's always going to make them register, though, if you click that. You also have, I'm just going to save a dummy. Yeah, my meeting is fine. Once you create the meeting, you have different stuff down here. Look at this stuff, because they have some awesome stuff here. This is where you can come to see how many people are registered so far. Email settings, like this is the email that is going to say like, email her if you have any problems. If you want to change that email, change it. This is where you can come to brand. So you can actually put like a header and a logo on the registration page. So when people get emails from me, you'll see like the Educator Alexander header. I actually have to come here and upload that every time I do a meeting. I wish there's a different way. If you know of a different way, put it in the chat. How do you make Bitly's? bitly.com. And then polls. So if you want to use polls, you actually have to set up polls ahead of time. So you can't just go click poll and put in a poll question. You can come here to add questions and answers to your meeting. And then you can just click poll, the poll will pop up and the students can answer it. So you can do this, you just have to do it ahead of time. And then you have, I've never played with live streaming, but if I wanted to like stream to YouTube while I was doing my meeting, you can come here and look at that. I think that's a button that I actually clicked to set that up. There was one other thing, where is it, that I wanted to show you. And I always forget where it is because I don't use it often, but I want to start using it. Okay, this is it. All right. So under registration, go to where it says registration options, go to edit. Someone just showed me this and I was like, yay! So under here, you have some options, but if you go to questions, you can choose which question is on the registration, which I was like, blow my mind. I did not know I can do that. So you can choose what questions, and you can do custom questions. So if you wanted to register and ask people like, what grade level are you with? Or what do you teach? Or what do you want to learn today? Or something like that. You can actually ask it on the registration page. I was just like, man, Zoom, just like the onion keeps peeling, and I love it. So that's that. I think that's what I'm going to, reports. After reports, I'm going to stop with this and go into the Zoom itself and show you some things, and then breakout rooms, and then I'm just going to open it up to the flood of questions. Hopefully I answered some of them. So when you have the paid account, you can actually pull reports. That will be under account management here on the side panel. Account management reports. The two reports that I use the most often are who was here and who registered. But you can see that they have a whole bunch of different reports. I'm not going through this. I just want to show you that it's here because, again, this is an intro class. But if I come here to registration reports under meeting, it's going to show me the meetings because you see it's from 7/21 to 7/22. So I can change this and see more meetings. But if I wanted to see like who registered for my meeting, well, let's do your meeting. I can go ahead and click generate. I want to see all the registrants. You just got to give it a second. Listen to some smooth jazz. And then you can come here and download the report. So it's going to download as Microsoft Excel, and it'll tell you all of the people, all of the email addresses. This is what I have to do every time I send you that email at the end that says like, thank you for registering. This is where I come and get that report. So I download it, copy those email addresses, and there you go. The other one I want to show you is who was here during this meeting. You can't count on this report, okay? So if I come here and say active host, no, I don't know what I just clicked on, reports. Why am I forgetting like I'm new? Okay, that's right. All right. You don't have an active report because you're in. Let me go to a couple of weeks ago, search. All right, there you go. So if I wanted to see who is in Sarah's recent webinar, I hate that there's not a drag button. I feel like I'm just not seeing something. So I usually have to come here and just like drag my mouse. I don't know why, but it tells me that there were 239 participants. That's not a true number though. If I come here and click on participants, if people left and came back and all that good stuff, hopefully I'm not showing everybody's email. I'm just gonna keep doing this. So if they left and came back, you there we go. You'll see them 5 times. So that's why that's not a true number. So if I wanted to come here and say show unique users, then it's only gonna show people 1 time. And it's gonna show how long they were in the meeting, which I love. And then you can export it and it's going to download as a Excel document. The reason why you can't trust it is if people join from their phone, you won't have their email address. They just say like iPhone 5 sometimes. Also, when people like keep connecting, it can mess up their number as well. So that's why in the past, I will always do a sign in because I couldn't count on this because somebody would not have a certificate because they joined from their phone, and that's not really fair. So just, it's a good report. It's just, you can't completely count on it. So now let's look at some Zoom stuff and some breakout rooms. So you see my toolbar. You can move this toolbar around wherever you want it to be. Under where it says mute and stop video, most of us know to mute, and that's how we turn on and off our video right now. But always look under the caret. Never sleep on the caret. So if you come here to the caret, the little arrow, you can go to audio settings, and there's a whole bunch of settings for audio and for video to make your Zoom work the way you may want it to work. The first thing is to go do your settings on the side that I showed you. Then get into a meeting and start playing with these settings. So notice if I come to audio, I have some different stuff like mute my microphone, what microphone I want it to connect to, all that good stuff. For screen sharing, do I want it to be side-by-side mode, which will make this like the slideshow over here and the pictures over here. I can turn that off. Enter full screen when a participant shares their screen, all kind of cool stuff right here. This is where you come to do your virtual background. So if I wanted to do like this, I'm not downloading that stuff, but if you want, I'm not a big fan of the virtual background. But if you want to do, I've seen some really good ones, but I don't like when like somebody's presenting and half their finger goes away, then half their face goes, it's just so distracting to me. But if you have a green screen, then that may be, of course, it's going to make it a little bit better. But this is where you can come to upload. Notice the plus sign, upload your green screen stuff and all that. If I go to video, I like fell in love with the video settings because I like the spotlight my video when I speak, hide non-video participants. So when I'm doing something and we're having a conversation, especially when I want to record it, I'll say hi the people that are not on video. So that way I don't have these big blocks of names when I actually have people on camera. Right? I'm like, no, I want to see the people that's on camera. So you can, you know, you can hide that. So all kind of little stuff. I'm just going to kind of say, go and look at this stuff. I've never done touch up. I wonder how that would work. But you have all kinds of stuff, including accessibility tools. This is how your closed captions will look. So play around with these settings. You only get there from your toolbar. So video or audio. So I can come here to video and say video settings, and it brings me to the same thing. Audio, share screen, chat, all the kind of, like, look at this stuff. I have some really good stuff here. So moving on, when you click on participants, I have my participant window. So when I'm here on participants, I'm going to click on Tanya. Hey, Tanya. So I can come here and I can unmute Tanya. I can mute Tanya. I can also come here to more and make her a co-host. I can actually make her the host as well, which means she'll take over my job. So sometimes if I'm having a meeting, I'm like, guys, I have to go. I'll just make somebody the host and lead. I'm like, y'all can keep it going. Okay. Now I can't force her to start her video, but I can ask her to. So if I click, like, I'll be in a meeting, I'm like, guys, turn on the video, and you'll see people doing this. I'll just go and ask, because a box is going to pop up and they're like, oh, and they click it and now they can share their video. So just to make it a little bit more simple for them. And if they want to say no, they can say no. If Tanya got on my nerves, I may skip her back to the, you go wait, go do a timeout. Just put you back in the, I don't want to remove you, right? Which is this button, but I'm going to put you back in the waiting room. And there are reasons to do that. If you're doing votes or anything like that, you may want to, you know, move people to the waiting room, back out of the waiting room and all that kind of stuff. Allow her to record the meeting. So if she's like, can I record? And you're like, just you. I can allow just her to record the meeting. Make co-host is the one that you're going to do the most. And I can also rename her. So like this phone number, if I was like, who is this? I can come here and rename this person Michael Smith or whatever, right? So you can rename and all that kind of stuff just right here from clicking on a person. You also have chat with that person. So this would be the private chat. Okay, so if I click that open, notice now it says Tanya. So I'm only chatting with Tanya at that point. These are all the little yes, no's. This is really good to vote or to say, hey guys, did y'all understand? So the students can just come here and click yes, or they can click no if they didn't understand. So a really nice tech for understanding tool. And if they use it, it will show like who said yes and who said no. Under more, these are the reactions. This one is like be right back, or, you know, so like if Angela had to leave, she could just click this and I know not to call on her because she's away from the keyboard. Then you can clear all of them. So if everybody has all kinds of stuff happening, you can just clear them all. Mute all, unmute all. Now I use mute all a lot, but I also use mute all with a special button. So when I click mute all, I uncheck allow participants to unmute themselves. That's how you can mute everybody. And if they try to unmute, they can't. Now, when I'm about to do questions in a second, if I want you to mute again, I'm just going to click mute. Under the three dots, this is how you can turn your waiting room on and off. So I always have my waiting room on at the beginning, but I'm not going to sit there and click admit every single time. So as soon as I start letting y'all in, I come here and I uncheck this. So that way it's just kind of come on in. And then if I need to enable it again, I can come here and enable it. Okay. You also have all these little buttons that you can read yourself, but just see that you have these buttons here under the three dots. Then you have like if a student had their screen up and I want to take remote control over it, I can click that and ask, hey, Pamela, share your screen and let me take control over it and show you what you're doing wrong. A lot of people don't even know that's there. Okay, and that's a setting that you would turn on in this part. If you wonder, like, why did she go through that? You need to know that. And then you have under more, breakout rooms. So you have some other stuff you can see, like show video panel. So you see this little panel that always gets in the way and I'm moving it around everywhere. So you can go turn that off if it's just getting in your way. Because if you minimize it, it still kind of stays here. And it's like, oh, please move away. So I always go and hide that. Like I don't need to see myself. Even if I have students and stuff, I need to just concentrate on this and I'll have them up on my other device. But up to you. Breakout rooms. So this is how you do breakout rooms. And then we're going to take questions and then go to meet. So with breakout rooms, it's showing me that I have 98 participants in this meeting right now. I can either assign them manually, which means I want to actually move people. With 98 people, there is no way. So I'm going to say automatically, right? So notice I have one big breakout room. I want you to look at this right here. Look at this number down here. As I'm scrolling up, notice it's telling me how many people are going to be in each room. So if I'm like, okay, I only want like 3 to 4 people in a room. All right, there I go. So I'm gonna have 26 breakout rooms going at the same time. Are you able to monitor all of them at the same time? Absolutely not, but you can go from room to room, which I'm about to show you. Does the recording go into the breakout room? No. Okay, so when I'm ready to create, I'm just gonna create like massive rooms because I just want to show you this. All right, there you go. So when I want to create rooms, I'm going to hit create rooms. So notice I have breakout room 1, breakout room 2, breakout room 3, breakout room 4. If I need to come and read, like I'm like, oh no, I made a mistake. Just come right here to recreate. And then you get this box again. So I can actually recreate throughout the meeting. Just because I put you in breakout room 1 doesn't mean you have to stay in breakout room 1 the whole meeting. Because I can come here to recreate and just recreate it as I want to every time I move you to a breakout room. Under options, when I move you to a breakout room, when I'm ready to call you all back, the default is it's going to give you 60 seconds to come back. Sometimes that's really long. So sometimes I'll come here and say, you know, I only want 15 seconds. And I wish there was somewhere I can just say, I want my default to be 15 seconds. There may be, I just haven't found it. Throw it in the chat if you found it, because I'll go through the chat a little bit because I'm kind of ignoring the chat. So I'll go through the chat more a little bit later. But right now, as far as I know, you have to do this every time. And it's like, but the default will be 60, or you can just not do a countdown. I suggest doing a countdown though, because I've been in meetings, not in Zoom, but in other platforms where we're talking. Yeah, she make me sit and you're already you're back into the meeting room. It's like, oh no. So you may want to do a countdown. You can also do automatic breakout rooms. So that means, hey, I want to break out for 10 minutes. I'm going to be talking to my kiddos, right? So automatically stop the breakout room in 10 minutes and notify me when the time is up. Awesome. So, and then you got allow participants to return to the main session. That means when they're in the breakout room, let's say something happens, they don't feel safe, they're going to have a leave button at the bottom of the screen where they can leave and come back to the main room. You'll be notified if anybody goes back to the main room. And then move our participants automatically. I mean, I wouldn't suggest that, but you can. You can. I guess you can, because some people don't click join, so it just won't give them that option. It's gonna force them into the breakout room. So yeah, I probably would use that maybe for students, depending on the age level. So I haven't used it yet, but I like it. So there you go. So when I'm ready to open the rooms, I'm ready for you to move to your rooms. I'm gonna click open all rooms. But before that, Cheryl and Hannah cannot be in the same room. There is no way. There is no way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Hannah. Notice move to. I'm going to move Hannah into room 4. Let's see. I think everybody else is. Belinda and Carol. No, they think I'm crazy. Belinda and Carol will not be in the same room. But you know what? I don't feel like moving. I want the rooms to stay a good number. So I'm going to come here and exchange Carol. I'm going to exchange her. Well, I can't do Cheryl because you already know how that's going to work. Where Kim at? I just saw Kim. All right, whatever. There you go. I'm going to exchange her for Kim. So now it actually exchanged them into the different rooms. So when I click open all rooms, do not click on the room. Somebody always does. Let me change this time, because then we have to sit there for 60 seconds and wait for it to. Do not click on the room. All right, so I'm going to hit open all rooms, and you're going to get a box that pops up that says, hey, come to this room. Do not click on the room. So notice all participants have been invited. So I'm looking at this computer. It invited me to breakout room 1. I can say join, or there we go. It can say join or later. So don't join. Notice that we have some unassigned people. This can happen for different reasons. If after you created the rooms, they left and came back, it can be, sometimes you're just left out. I don't know. So if it ever happens, you can just come here, like as people are joining their rooms, you can just come here and assign them. Notice the numbers right here tell me I have 3 rooms with 19. So I'm going to put them into these 19. And usually I'm saying something, because when you get really good at this, you can talk through it. You can still be teaching while you're doing this, because you're not going to have it on the screen, right? So I can say, okay, so if you didn't see it, don't worry, you're about to get it. It's going to pop on your screen at any time, right? And you saw the big red number at the top. So if any of these people leave their room and come back, that number will pop up for me. So I'll be able to see, ooh, somebody's in the main room. Somebody comes late, that number is going to pop up. So anytime you have someone unassigned, that number is going to pop up, and you can see, oh, I need to go and grab that person and put them in a room. When you want to join the different breakout rooms, notice for each room they have join. So I can just come here, open this up, go here, listen. Oh, they're doing good. Come back here, click here. Oh, okay, they're doing good. Well, that's good that this happened. I'm sure she's wondering why she's in a breakout room by herself. So if this happens, the student can actually ask for help. So you'll get this. I'm glad she did that. But you'll get this, and then you can go. You don't even have to look like, oh, where's Nancy? Where? Just join breakout room, and then go ask Nancy what she needs. So there you go. That's how you do breakout rooms, and then you can just join until you're ready to close them out. You can still move people around as you're going. So if somebody, is like, I don't know, you can move them around. When they're in the breakout room, their chat is just for that room. Okay? The cool thing is they do see the chat from the main room. So if you had instructions, put it in the chat before they go into the different rooms, because then everybody will be able to see the instructions. But then when they get into that room and they start chatting, that chat is only for their room. You can also broadcast a message. Like I'm about to broadcast a message to all the rooms that says, click the leave button at the bottom of the screen. You shouldn't have joined the room, and hit broadcast. So now they all got a message. You're not going to see because you're not in your room, but, well, no, you did see it because I see it on this one. That message that popped up that said, from Dr. Desiree Alexander, click on leave. Blah, blah, blah. So there you go. And then when you want to close all the rooms, you just come here and click close. Okay, I do have somebody in a room, so you'll see the 10 seconds. So close, and notice it says, hey, we're giving them, and it has a countdown. So as people are coming back, I'm like, guys, we have about 5 seconds till everybody comes back. I can't wait to hear what you guys are talking about. And now all the breakout rooms are closed. Okay, my people that just returned, I told you not to click on the button. But that's okay. So if I wanted to recreate the rooms now, I can just hit create all rooms. It actually moved people around. And I can just do this and create other rooms. So that's breakout rooms, guys. And that's Zoom. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to stop sharing that screen. I'm going to click on the 3 dots and allow you to unmute yourself. And let me know what questions we have before we go to Meet. Meet doesn't take as long as Zoom, so we're good. Because it doesn't have all the stuff Zoom has right now. But I'm also going to show you how to do breakout rooms in Meet. So hop on the mic. What questions do we have? Throw them in the chat. If I didn't get to your question, let me know. can you set a timer so everyone can see the coming back from breakout room timer? Everyone can see, but not, no, not. But what you can do is assign roles. Like Tommy, or, you know, as soon as you get to the room, depending on how many students you have, as soon as you get to the room, make somebody the note taker, make somebody the timer, make someone, they're going to be the person that reports back to us when we all come back together, that kind of thing. During spring, it was unlimited until June. Yeah, I think that's either have gone away or is going away in June or July. Did you say that by unchecking enable waiting room, participants can join without having to be admitted? Yes. Yes. So I usually leave on the waiting room until I bring people in, and then I just let people join. I'm like, eh. So if we do get a Zoom bomb, it's like, eh, I'll just kick them out and move on. Yeah, I definitely, especially if you don't have, now if you have like 20, 30 students and you can say, Michael, I'm putting you in room 1, you're the reporter, Adam, you're in room 2. I mean, if you can do that, awesome. But if you have a bunch of people, just like pick these 3 roles. As soon as you get in the room, that's your first job. And then I will put that in the chat. Your first job, da-da-da. So that way when they get into the room, they'll see it in the chat. Questions, guys? Hop on the mic.
Desiree, Dr. Yes. Desiree Alexander.
Hey.
Hello. Okay, so I first want to say that I am absolutely amazed. We have been using Zoom for all of my lives, and the stuff you just showed me, I'm so excited to practice at like today. So thank you. We are here. I just want to give a special shout out to the eye care specialist on the line. It's a couple of us here. Well, it's a lot of us here. We are excited to be with you today. And I have a question. It's like a talk show. I have a question. My question is, if we were to do something like a conference online in Zoom for students, if we had a general session and then we had breakout rooms, could we pre-assign certain specialists to operate the different rooms? Could it be pre-assigned, or would I have to assign it in the room at that time?
You can Okay, mute yourself. Okay, so let me show you what I would suggest. This is something that we did for, I learned it during Ed Change Global. So I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm gonna go back here. And I think this is only done with the Pro account, but when I come here to set up a meeting, alternative host. So what this will do is you can put those like co-runners of the conference, put their email addresses here, and they have to use those email addresses when they're signing in, but put their email addresses here. And what that will do is, let's say you put 5 people here. I think there is no, we didn't find a limit. I think we only had like 8 people though, but I'm guessing there's a limit. But let's say I have 5 people. I'll put their email addresses here. Whoever's the first person to go into that room will automatically be the host. Yay, right? So I don't have to have that pressure to make sure I'm the, so whoever's the first person will automatically be the host. And I think, don't quote me on this, but I think when I join, it'll make me the host. I think that's how it worked. But regardless, all of these people will be co-host in the room. So that way, that kind of solves that problem. And then if you want to pre-assign, when you come here and you create, room 1, room 2, and room 3, when I get here to room 1, I'm going to add my first eye care specialist. In room 2, add I changed to 2, add the second one. In room 3, add the third one. You can also like name these cute names. So like what we did in Ed Change Global, we didn't do it in Zoom, we did it in another platform. But if I want to come here and call this whatever that word was, like science lab, and then come here and call this something else. So you can make like little cute names for it as well. You don't really have to, but you can. But that's kind of the only thing you can do pre. And then just like I showed you, when you're pulling up the breakout room, you may just have to have somebody like, assign the right person to it. But another kind of warning about that, because I see we do have some questions in the chat I'll get to. A little warning about that is the host The HOST is the only one that can do breakout rooms. So you can have 50 million co-hosts all you want to. The host is the only one that can assign and manage the breakout rooms. And then when your co-host goes with you, they can switch from room to room. So they can help you monitor, but they can't like run the breakout rooms. All right, so let's see what other questions we have, and then we're going to get to meet. What grade? Oh, wait, let's see. Did I go too far? So the chat message from host will go through to all breakout rooms. Yes, if you use broadcast. When you do a breakout room, can you see all the rooms that? No, Kathleen, we talk. When you cannot see all the rooms at the same time. When will we be going over Google Meet? Jean, we're about to go there. Can you hold on, Jean? Can you calm down, Jean? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, we're about to go there right now, Jean. For those who are this is from Jean. From those who were in the waiting but not admitted to the meeting by the host, will they be counted as participants in the report? Jean, you will have to see about that. I don't think they will. I think either they may be there with a 0 because they weren't in the real meeting, but that's something you'll have to test. What grade level children can effectively learn via? I mean, that's definitely an opinionated question. Opinionated answer. Like if I was like, oh, I think third. I mean, that's your opinion. Special needs children, I don't think they will have the text. Yeah, that's what I mean by Deborah. That's a person by person opinion on that. What were the roles you suggested for the kids in the breakout room? Same thing as when you put them in groups. The reporter to record like what they talked to, the reporter to report back when we come back together to report what they talked about in the room. The I think we used to call it recorder is the person that like took the notes and everything, and the timer to keep everybody on time. Can we actually see a breakout room? Sure. When I click on the rooms, it wants me to pay to you. Well, Deb, remember? No, you can do breakout rooms for free, so I don't know. I thought rooms, it is in the free version, so I'm not sure. Unless they check. Now, things update, y'all. Things update. So I'm going to make a quick breakout room, and then we're moving on. As long as we're at meet by 120, we're fine. Okay, I don't care what rooms. Open all rooms. I think it's going to be 60 seconds. Oh. But if you want to see a breakout room, just go hop in one right quick, and I'm going to close it in about a minute. So get there quickly. Get there quickly. I'm just going to change it I'm going to close them in about a minute. If you don't want to, then just hang out here. How many rooms do I have? 4, 5, 6. Oh, a lot. And if you go into a room and you're by yourself, that's okay. So I'm going to give it to 119, and then I will close this and we'll get to meet. Yes, I think I have a question in the chat. Is there a setting where if I get disconnected, it can end the meeting? If you get, that is, okay, remember, don't start your videos. That is disable join before host. So if join before host is not there, when you leave, the whole meeting will shut down because they can't join without you. Okay, so now I'm gonna broadcast a message. About to close the rooms, y'all. Broadcast. All right, they got that, and close all rooms. Oh, good, it's still 10 seconds. Woo, woo. I'm glad it kept it. And that was breakout rooms. Breakout rooms. All right. You're welcome. So now we're going to go to Google Meet. So I'm actually going to not share that. Uh-oh. Let's go ahead and mute ourselves again. Let me make it to where everyone is muted. And of course, it takes me 5 years to find it sometimes. All right, and then mute all. Yes, okay. So Google Meet. There are different ways that you can create a Google Meet. Most of us, if we're using Google, we're also using Google Classroom, but I know that some districts actually turn off Google Classroom, which baffles my brain, but I digress. So I just went to the regular Google Meet, meet.google.com. And what I want to do is show you the Google Meet window, and then we're going to talk about setting up a Meet through Calendar and setting up a Meet through Google Classroom, which is going to lead us to breakout rooms. Okay, so Google Meet. The difference between Google Meet and Google Hangouts was before Google Meet. And Google Hangouts incorporated Google Chat and live, my brain is going too much, live meetings like this. So that was Google Hangouts. Then they said, well, we're going to introduce this new product called Google Meet that will be the video part, and Google Chat, which will be the chat feature. So that's what's coming right now. When they first brought out Google Meet, it was just for schools and like enterprise and work, and then Hangouts was personal. And now Meet will take over and Hangouts will go away. So a lot of people ask me, like, what's the difference between those things? So there you go. And just like with Zoom, if you're using your phone, the app is always going to be different than the computer version. So I'm only concentrating on the computer version today. Chromebook will be a little bit different. Phones is an app. I mean, most of us who use apps know that apps are always going to be different. So when I want to, if I have a Google Meet already set up, notice right here, I have Dinner with Ed already set up from my Google Calendar. So it will show up right here, but I'm just going to start a meeting. Give your meeting a nickname. You can leave it blank, but if you're going to be using this with students especially, give it a nickname. I'm going to show you why that's important in a second. I don't care if it's a real nickname, just put something in that blank, and I will tell you why it's important a little bit later. So this is the Google Meet waiting room. So if you think about a waiting room, this is your Google Meet waiting room. And what I'm going to do is turn off my camera from Zoom. I think I said I was going to turn that off earlier, but and mute this. But that's why my camera failed, is because you can't have a camera in both platforms going at the same time. So I'm not officially in the meeting until I hit join now. Okay. So again, I'm showing you teacher side first, and then I'll show you like how to prevent students from joining and all that kind of stuff. So yes, these are all my meeting details. I'm just going to click the X, and now I'm in Google Meet. If I needed to, and this window is much less, you could do much less with it. And I don't mean that as a slight. Sometimes you do want to do less with it, but that's why we don't need as much time for Meet. So if you come here to this little area, you can click the caret, and it'll show you all the meeting details. So if I needed, somebody was like, I can't get in, and you needed to send this to them, you can just come here and copy and go email it to them or text it to them or whatever you want to do. Under attachments, if you went through Google Calendar and you added attachments to the calendar invite, this is where they will show up. Okay, and I will show you that. That's where we're going next. Let me move my Zoom bar up. So I have my hang up button. My turn off microphone button, turn off camera button, and my hang up button. I have my turn on closed captions, which absolutely never works for me. I'm sure it's something that I'm doing wrong. I'm guessing. I don't know, but they never work for me. But this is where your closed captions will show up. You have your present now, which I'm going to skip over just for a second. And you have your hot dogs, the 3 dots. Under your hot dogs, you have record meeting. You will only see this if your district turned it on. So your district, the Google admin, has to turn on record meeting for you to see this button. I do have a video on my YouTube channel that shows them how to do that if you want it. Just email me or tell me at the end of this, and I'll send it to you. I can put it in the chat. This will be going away unless Google makes a different decision. But this is for what's called Google for Education Enterprise. Okay, I just want to make sure y'all are still seeing me and everything. Okay, so this is for enterprise users, which is like you have Google for Education now, and then you have paid Google for Education. So this would be for the paid Google for Education. So just keep that in mind. So this will be going away. I think September, put a date behind it. So that will be going away. Change layout is something really good that not only you can use, but you need to teach your students how to use this. So under change layout, the one that I like to tell my people to use is Spotlight. That means it's going to spotlight me and what I'm doing versus them seeing each other. But if you want them to see Brady Bunch style like Zoom, you're going to use tiled, or you can do a combination of Spotlight and tiled and use sidebar. So like even when I'm in the middle, once I train my people, I can say, hey guys, go ahead and spotlight right now. And they can just click here and click spotlight. Now, do they have to? I mean, you won't know, but it can help some of your students, especially the ones that get distracted. Full screen just looks like this. It kind of takes away all the little stuff at the top. You can just exit that. So when you're presenting, you may want to put it in full screen because you see how it kind of moved it to full screen for your kiddos as well. Captions does the same thing as this button. Settings, this is where you need to go if you're talking and the kids are like, we can't hear you. This is where you come to make sure that you have the right microphone turned on and the right video turned on. Okay, so settings. And that's about it. Again, not a super huge, it's a quick tool. That's why we like Meet. The video quality is usually a little bit worse than Zoom. But I mean, I still love my Google Meet, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm negative on Google Meet because I do love my Google Meet. You have the time up here according to whatever time you set up for your Google account. You have your chat and your participants. Now, when we go through Google Classroom, I'm actually going to have a student join so I can show you how to kick students out at the end and why you would want to do that before you leave. But you have the chat option. We can come and, of course, put your chat here, and you have all your people here will be listed here. Oh, good. That other extension finally left. And, I mean, that's it for Zoom. I mean, that's it for Meet. This little thing is an extension. I really like this extension. I suggest telling your students to get it as well. It really doesn't make sense for you to have it, but it does make a lot of sense for your students to have it. And it's Nod, N-O-D, N-O-D. So if you just Nod extension, Nod reactions for Google Meet. The reason why I like this, and I actually like this better than Zoom, is when, like, if your students have this, they have the different reactions, they have a question button, and then they can come here and choose the different skin tone, which of course I like my being inclusive and being equitable. So the reason why I like this a little bit better than on Zoom is that it separates this with questions. And like if I come here and do a thumbs up, it pops up on my screen. Now some teachers may not like that, but I like that it pops up so I can see that if I'm like, give me a thumbs up if you like that. And I can see all the little pop-ups. I'm like, yeah. So I like that kind of stuff. I'm a little mantic. But this is even more why I like Nod. It's because of the question feature. So if I'm like, guys, if you have a question throughout, just raise your hand. Notice the question does not go away. I really like that. So I can, and I see it on my screen. Like with Zoom, if you take off the participants, you don't really see the hands going up, right? You have to actually have that whole box open. But I like this because it forces itself on my screen. And then I can go, okay, educator, what was your question? And then I can just come here and exit. And now I'm listening to the question, I can answer it. Now, Meet is creating a whole bunch of updates. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming, like using Jamboard, which is a tool that you can use for your whiteboard. You can actually use that right now. But so with Jamboard, you can like pull this up and use it as a whiteboard. I'm not going to go into Jamboard that much, but I just wanted to show you jamboard.google.com. I can ask it for my math teachers. I can make it like grid paper or dot paper, that kind of thing. And then all I have to do is share my screen and they can see the Jamboard. But they're supposed to be incorporating that like a little bit easier into Meet. And there's a whole bunch of updates coming up. There were already a whole bunch of updates when COVID happened. So a lot of this stuff we did not have when we first started COVID. So they are working, and I definitely do, like, just to say, I appreciate them working on making it a better tool. So I'm gonna stop right there and look in the chat before we go to how to schedule it from calendar. And then the rest of our time will be in Google Classroom. Oh, there's also an extension called Attendance, Meet Attendance. I used it and it was a little finicky for me, but I also didn't use it like religiously or anything, but you can look into that too. And it's like you click the button and it takes the attendance of everyone who's in the Meet and puts it on a Google spreadsheet. So look into that too and see if it works for you. What is better? Oh, share screen. Completely went over that. So present now. I'm glad I saw somebody say something about share screen. So if I click present now, you have 3 options, and that's why I wanted to leave it for a second. Present your entire screen, which will present your entire screen. But you can also present a window or a Chrome tab. So this kind of creates a different way you can share stuff while you can still see your students and interact with them. So if I wanted to say present just a window, so I can pull up my website. I only wanted to present this window. So I have to make it a window by itself. So I can just pull it down, pull it up, pull it down, pull it up, pull it down, and make it a window by itself. Or just go and open up Chrome again. It'll be a window by itself. So I'm gonna come back here. In order for this to work right, you have to have this window open. I've learned that the hard way. I'm like, it's not working. So you have to have the window open. And I can come here and say, just present the window. You see how I have this window? And now it's only presenting that window. Now, I'm not seeing it because I'm teaching, but it's only presenting that window. So if I was doing stuff on that window, you'll be able to see it. But I can also come here and look at the chat. Notice I'm still here looking at stuff, but you're seeing as my student, if you were in here as a student, you would be seeing just that window. So it's a really nice thing. Like if I needed to show a video or something like that, I can still be in here doing the chat while they're seeing what I want them to see. I'm going to stop sharing. Excuse me. And you can also do that with a Chrome tab. So just one of these tabs, I don't even have to make it a window by itself. I can say, hey, present just, I don't know, the Google Classroom tab. And now it's presenting just this tab, but I can go back and do other stuff. And you see how this is like a little window on it? So it's saying, hey, I'm presenting that window. So it just gives you a little bit more options than just presenting your entire screen and the students see everywhere you go. So I can actually be here interacting with them and still be sharing other stuff on the screen. And that's share screen. That's present now. Questions? Okay, there you go. I clicked on the hot dog again. Can I prevent a user from adding people to Google Meet sessions? I don't know what you mean by adding people. They can't add people, but they can send the link to other people. Yeah. But they can't, I mean, it's no adding people. Are there chat set? No, this is everything I showed you is what you get, y'all. It's not a heavy tool. Everything I showed you is what you get. But when I share a screen, I'm able to see the participants. Yep. So if you share the screen, unless you share it again, unless you share it with Windows or Chrome, if you share entire screen, you won't be able to see the participants unless you have 2 devices. That's why I want to show you share a window or share a Chrome tab. Can we control muting? Everything I showed you is what you can do. That's it. That's it. And I'm not shutting down questions, but literally that is it. Like no, you can't mute everybody. What you see is what you get. Now, there may be an extension to help you do some of those things, but this is it. What you see is what you get. You were going to show us something about leaving meetings. Yeah, I'm going to show you that when we get to Google Classroom. All right, so let's leave here and let's go to Google Calendar. So if I'm setting up the Google, can you still see me? Well, you don't have to see me, but when I'm setting up the Google Meet through Google Calendar, most of us are going to be doing this through Classroom now, but I still want to show it to you. You have a couple of more options. So if I just do a double click, and I'm not going through Calendar, I just want to show you the Meet. If I double click, notice I can add a Zoom, Google Meet. I can also add a Zoom because Zoom has a Google Calendar add-on. So if you want to be able to connect your Zoom to your Google Calendar, use this Google Calendar add-on. I can put the link in the chat if you remind me, and you'll have this button too. But I'm only concentrating on Meet right now. So if I want to say, you know, fourth period, check-in meeting, whatever. If I wanted to add a Google Meet, I just simply click the button, and that's it. When you send it to them, they'll have the Meet button in the calendar invite. If you remember when I talked about files, if you wanted to add files, you can come here where it says add attachment, and you can upload them from your computer. You can sing them from your Google Drive. Just know that when you sing it from your Google Drive, it's going to say, you haven't shared this with your students. You can say, yes, share it with them. But again, most of us are going to be using Google Classroom for this. But I do want to show you that this is here. And the last thing to show you with this, it's not a lot, guys. The last thing to show you with this is something that will be going away because it's part of the paid version, but you can use it for now if your district has turned it on. I have a video about how to turn that on. And that is, notice this is my Meet for up to $250. Again, that is the paid version, but for now we're all using the paid stuff because they gave it to us for free. But notice I have this little carrot right here. If I click that, I can also add a live stream. So a live stream is exactly what it sounds like. If you've ever gone to YouTube and watched a live stream or Facebook, a live stream is when you are watching me, I'm streaming, but we have no interaction. So there is no questions on the side. There's no raising hands. I just need to broadcast myself like the Hunger Games, and I just need you to watch it. So I can add live stream by just clicking this. So I have my Meet and I have my live stream button right here. That will be going away September, whatever, or if it's updated, whatever date, but that will be going away. But for now, we can use live stream as well if you would like to. That's it. Moving on to Google Classroom. Is Google Meet in Google Classroom the same as regular Meets? Yes, Mary, as we're about to look at right now. Breakouts in Google Meet. We're getting to that, Mona, when we get to Google Classroom, like I said earlier. You were going to show us something about the, okay, so good. And guys, I know I'm missing questions, but I'm going to stop at the end because again, this stuff is not a bunch to do. So Google Classroom and Google Meet. So I made a brand new classroom so I can show you how to turn on your Google Meet link and how it works when you're dealing with teachers and students. So let me move this to the bottom now. Let me open up my student account. Hello, student account. So I can show you kind of how that works. Sure, just stop it. Stop it, student account. Okay, so when I want to, logs me out every now and then. Yay. So when I want to turn on my Google Meet link in Google Classroom, notice I have it right here. But I'm actually going to go to the gear because everything I need will be under the gear. So you can click here if you want to, but I'm going to come here to the gear. And I'm going to scroll down to Meet. So gear, scroll down till you see Meet. And I want to generate my Meet link. Once you click that, the cool thing about this is you have one Meet link for everything for your classes. So you don't have to keep going to Meet or going to Calendar and creating links and singing links. And you don't have to do that anymore. I love it. So this is my Google Meet link. The only reason I may need to reset it is if my Meet link gets out and something happens and I get meat bombed or whatever, I may want to come here and reset it, of course. But I never have to do anything. Once I set it up, I'm done. Notice it says visible to students. I'm going to leave it turned on for students because my district has clicked the button to say students cannot create Google Meets. Students cannot join Meet without the teacher. That's a district thing that they have to turn on. And of course, I have a YouTube video to show them how to do that. So if your district has turned that on, it's super cool to just leave the button visible for your students. If they haven't turned that on, then you may want to go turn this off, and you may want to very much talk to them about turning that on. So I'm going to leave mine turned on. I'm going to hit save. Notice I have my Meet link here in Zoom. My goodness, me and Zoom. My Meet link here in Classroom, and I can click on classwork, and I have my Meet link here. So anytime we need a Meet, it's here. There is no sharing links anymore. They're here. They're waiting on us. I'm going to have my student join so we can see how this looks between teacher and student. The student is joining my Google Meet. I love it so much. I feel like it's like an 80s theme song. I had like Perfect Strangers in my head. All right, so for the student, they have the Meet link and they have the Meet link. So if the student is like, hey, dude, join me and Miss Smith's Google Meet. Let's do some bad stuff. And they click on it, they can't get into it unless I'm there because my district turned that off. So that's why it doesn't matter if it's up here, they can't get into it because the district turned it off. So when I'm ready to have a Meet, and some of my teachers will say, well, how would they know? I mean, you're going to have to tell them Tuesday at 3 o'clock. You're going to have to tell them when to click on the Meet link. It doesn't do everything. It just has the Meet link there for you. So you tell them when it's time to meet, and then you don't have to create links. You don't have to send links. I love it so much. So I can just come here when I'm ready, click on it. Notice that it's already going to have a name here for me. That's going to be a nickname. That's going to be important in a second. I told you I was going to get back to it. So it already has a nickname here. So notice I'm kind of in the waiting room, right? I haven't started the meeting. So if my student comes here, no, sweetie, your teacher has not started that meeting yet. You need to wait. So once I click join now, let me mute it before we get all that echo. So there you go. And now I'm going to come here to the student, and now the student will be able to join. Turn this off, join. So now the student is in there, the teacher is in there. Student 1 has joined. The reason why it's so important to have a nickname and for you to be the last person in the room. If your Meet has a nickname, and if you are the last person in the room, once you leave the Meet, your students will not be able to join again. Even if they save the link and they think they're being all sneaky, whether you go through Classroom or just go through regular Meet, as long as it has a nickname and you're the last person in the room, the student will not be able to join the Meet again. If your district has put that the students cannot create their own Meets. Okay? So that's why the nickname is so important. But if you go through Google Classroom, it already has your nickname for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Yay! So if I need to kick students out, no, there's not a button to kick them all out at the same time. You'll actually have to come to each student, click it. This is where you can mute them. This is where you can kick them out, or you can pin them, which just kind of pins their picture there. But, or pins their, like if you want to like keep an eye on Michael, just Michael for right now, you can pin them. But there you go. So hopefully you don't have 50 students like hanging back. So this may only be like the student that went to make a sandwich while you were talking and they didn't know the Meet was over. So if I end this Meet with the student still in it, I'm going to leave call. All right. My student is still in here because I didn't kick them out first. But if I go, I forgot. You can go back in. Come to show everyone. Go ahead and kick them out. Remove. I'm the last person in the room. I'm going to leave the meet. And now the student has been removed. Breakout rooms. And this is the last thing. Then I'm just going to open it up to questions. Just a tip when you're doing this. I'm going to show you my tip for posting stuff. You notice how I just have a Word document up? This is really nice when you want to post stuff, when you know you have like links and stuff that you want to post. Put it in a Google Doc, put it in a Word document, and it makes it super easy to come here and then just paste it. Just a tip. I said I wanted to show you that when I went ahead and pasted it at 45. So I'm going to go ahead and paste the evaluation. You thought I was going to forget. All right. So breakout rooms. Last thing. This is how I do breakout rooms. You can do it in different ways. Everybody has like their favorite way to do it, but this is how I do it. So I'm going to use my Google Meet link from Google Classroom. And you can even do this even if you don't use Google Classroom, just go get the Meet link. So I can come here and I'm gonna hopefully graciously copy this link. And then I like to set it all up in Google Classroom. If you want to bring this to a Google Doc, or do what you do. Okay, I'm just going to do it all here in Google Classroom. So I'm going to hit the create button. I'm going to create a topic called breakout rooms. And remember, you're getting a copy of this video, and I actually have a video just about breakout rooms as well. So I have a topic called breakout rooms. This is how I, Desiree, would do it. I'm going to click create and create a material because I don't want it turned back into me. I just want to give it to you. So create material, and I'm going to call this breakout room 1. Now, of course, I will put more stuff here and make it make sense, right? Okay, then I'll put like join breakout room 1 when I tell you to, or whatever. Okay. And I'm going to post that link. Now, this is the only thing. It's gonna look super easy because it is. You see this nickname? I just need to change that to something else for each breakout room. Because this is my overall Google Meet room, right? This is the room we all come together. So I can't use that, but I need to change just the part at the back to something crazy. Breakout room 1, done. I'm also going to copy this and add it as a link. I like to make it easy for my students to get there. So they got it here, they got it here. Make sure that this is under my breakout room topic and post. Done. Material, breakout room 2, breakout room 2. Do this, change the back. Copy, add to the link. Post. I'm gonna make sure my rooms are in order by just dragging and dropping them in order. So when we need to use breakout rooms, it's already here waiting on us. I can tell my students, okay guys, we're gonna use breakout rooms. Go click on your breakout room. How would they know? You have to assign it to them, but it's not gonna do everything for you. So you'll have to say, Michael, you're in breakout room 1. Another thing you can do just as a tip, and then I'll show you how it works, is if you come here to create material, what I may do is do like breakout room 1, do the same thing I just showed you, right? And then only send breakout room 1 to the students who need breakout room 1. So you can do it that way too, where group 1 only has the link. Group 1 are the only ones that have the link to group 1. Group 2 are the only ones that have the link. Now, can they copy the link and send it to somebody? Of course they can. Okay. So it's just one of those things, if you want to do it that way, you can. If you think like they're going to be clicking on all kinds of rooms, then you may want to do it that way. So when you're ready to start your breakout rooms, let's say we're in the main room, and I'm like, guys, we're going to go ahead and start breakout rooms. Just give me a second. And while I'm talking, I'm just bringing up these rooms. Now, what would I do? You thought I showed you this randomly. I would put all my links on a Google Doc. So it makes it easy to just pull up that doc and go click, 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 click. Because you notice what I just had to do? I had to come here, click on this, click, click on, that's an extra click every time. So just put them all in something like really quick that you can get to and just click, 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 click. Open up all the meeting rooms. So I have this meeting room, I have this meeting room. I'm actually going to open them so my students can get into them. So I'm like, guys, go ahead and get to your breakout rooms. And what I'm going to do, at least for now, is I'm going to record every breakout room. I can't be in every room, but the camera can be there. I actually like this better than Zoom. So I can record every breakout room, record. Now, of course, I will have to do this every time, you know, but once you get good at this, no, why it's not working? Why are you trying to make me a liar? Did I accept? Why? Oh, Lord, I did not click that. Just because I'm in front of folk, you want to act like that. But yeah, believe me, you can record every room. I've done it. This is acting crazy. And then there you go. So I'm recording this room. I'm recording this room when it starts. And then I can just go from room to room and just see what they're doing, blah, 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 blah. I actually like this better too, because I can just go from tab to tab versus bringing up the screen and hitting join. I actually like this better. So when Meet actually puts this in the real Meet, I don't know how it's going to look, but I like this way. But there you go. So I can just go from room to room. Now, the one thing that I didn't include in the video, but I included in the notes, is the extension that I suggest with this. And the extension is called, that is not it. Where's my mute tab? There we go. So the extension is called Mute Tab Extension. If you've been using Google for a while, you know that you can right click, and it used to say Mute Tab, but now it says Mute Site. I mean, it's been that way for a while now. But what Mute Site means is every time I go to that website, it's going to mute that website. I can't do that because I actually want to hear what's in the Google Meet rooms. I only want to hear one room at a time though. So if you go and download the extension Mute Tab, notice what it did. I'm on this tab and I clicked. You see that M? That means that tab is muted. That tab is muted. So I can mute the 10 tabs, and when I want to be in breakout room 1, I just click it open and click unmute. Now I'm hearing them. Notice this one still says M, so this one is still muted when I'm hearing them, but it's still recording in both rooms. All right, we're done with breakout rooms, guys. Let's go ahead and close. Go back to the main room. Get to the main room. And then I can come here and make sure they're all gone, and then just close out my rooms. You just done breakout rooms. Dancing in the streets. All right, and that's how I would organize my breakout rooms. That's how I would control my breakout rooms. That's how I would do my breakout rooms. Using Google Meet. I feel like it's one thing I want to tell you about. I don't know. I'm looking at you like, what didn't I do? I feel like there's something I forgot. But literally, that's how you do your breakout rooms. You can do it without the extension, but I would not suggest it. It's going to be a hot mess. Oh, recordings. That's what I wanted to show you. I knew it sounds like something I wanted to show them. I didn't want to leave this Gmail open and have all these things come up. But this is how your recordings look. So it takes about 10, well, in my experience, it takes about 10 minutes for the recording to be ready. So they'll send you an email to say, hey, your recording is ready, and your recording automatically goes to your Google Drive. It's going to be a folder called Meet Recordings, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. Meet Recordings, and all of your Meet recordings will be in here, ready for you. If you download them, it's actually going to be in MP4, which I appreciate it. Because sometimes when you download, see, it's an MP4, like a real video file, which I appreciate it. So you can actually bring this meeting through Google Classroom, through Google Drive, or you can download it and do whatever you want to with it, but you have the recording now. But remember, recordings will go away September whatever, unless you have Enterprise or Google decides to, they can decide to make it free, I guess. Intro to Zoom and Google Meet. What are my questions? So let me stop sharing. And I will allow you to unmute yourself. And if you typed a question, oh, I'm so sorry. It's turned on now. Sorry. You shouldn't have been trying to leave early anyway. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'll try to remember to not do that next time. You saw I had it open. I had it open ready to undo it. So sorry about that. Just refresh your screen and you'll sorry about that. And you'll get it. Any questions? Unmute yourself, throw it in the chat. I'm gonna put the evaluation back in there again. Questions? Hope you learned some stuff, guys. Can the host break into a room and speak redirect students? Yes. Absolutely. When you go into, whether you're doing Zoom or Meet, when you go into the breakout room, it is exactly, you're just like a student in the room. So you can talk and do whatever you want to do. Is Jamboard an extension or do you have to go to the website? I don't know if Jamboard is an extension, but I know you can go to jamboard.google.com. But I don't know. I don't want to say no, it's not an extension because it may be. Can you please share how you created the Meet with a nickname? Sure, I can go back through that. Is the evaluation, where's the evaluation link? Phyllis, I just posted it. I posted it just now again. It's number 1. Number 1 on the list. Share screen. Hop on the mic, guys, or
Desiree, this was awesome. This is Paula from Monroe.
Hello, Paula from Monroe. Yay, good. So I had the question, I'm guessing how do you create the nickname? So once you come here to like join the meeting, it's going to ask you to put a nickname here. If you're talking, and just hit continue. If you're talking about in Google Classroom, it's going to automatically do one for you when you create the link. But if you want to like do a breakout room, then you would just paste the link. That's not the link. Act like this is the link. So you would get the link from here. Hopefully it helped with, with you guys using, Zoom and Meet for everything now. Just give you a little bit more options. And you're going to take the nickname. That's actually the nickname at the back, just like in Zoom. The back of the link is the meeting code. So you can just come here and change it. And then that's it. So that's how you nickname them. Got the certificate already. Yay! Can I share the video on how to use Google Meet with this? Oh, absolutely. Please do. All these videos are on YouTube for free. So share. If you ever go to YouTube and you can't find it, just, why am I pulling up my email? I'm trying to get to this. Just send me an email and I will kind of direct you. But it's pretty simple. Like most of everything is either under 5-minute tips or it's under webinars. That's where everything is. But just email me. I got you. You're welcome.
Hi, Desiree.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for everything.
Of course.
All these have been great. I must have missed how you create the link for your Google classes, for a Meet so that it's up there all the time. Would you share that to us again? Thank you.
Absolutely. No problem at all. So let's see. I'm going to go to share screen. Okay, so when you let me go out here. The only reason I'm creating a brand new class is because I already created it for that class. I just want to make sure I can show you, all right, kind of from the get-go. So right here, you can hit create meet link, but I suggest going to the gear. So if you come to the gear, you're going to scroll down to where you see meet, hit generate meet link. If you want it to always show up for your students, just make sure that's turned on. Click save. And then you're done. This is your Meet link, and under classwork, this is your Meet link. So that's it. Yay, you're welcome, Stella. Any questions, guys? You can hop on the mic or you can throw it in the chat. We are donezo. Yay, good. I'm glad it was helpful. Zoom always is going to take a little bit longer just because it has more bells and whistles. But of course, people will ask me, which one do I suggest? Do I suggest Zoom or Meet? And if I was still in the classroom, especially if we were a Google school, I would use Meet with my students, and I may use Zoom with the adults, depending on what I was doing.
Okay. Desiree, is there a way of using the same link for all of your classes? Or like if I have like that's language arts, science, can I use the same Meet link for all of my classes, or does it have to be a different one for each subject?
It depends on how you set up your Google Classroom. So if you set up your Google Classroom as suggested, where each subject has a different Google Classroom, then each subject will have a different Meet link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, of course, you can create 5 Google Classrooms, only turn on the Meet link for the first class, and then share that Meet link with the rest of the classes.
Okay.
And then just don't turn these on.
Okay. What would you think would be?
They won't have the little button though. They won't have the.
What do you think would be the easiest for parents? Because it's they're with all this distance learning, it's trying to make it easy for them.
Are all of your classes meeting together, or are they meeting as a class, like even your parents?
Oh, golly, I'm not sure. Yeah, so far I've only just met with my students.
Okay, so if you're going to have like a big parent meeting, I'm not going to go through Google Classroom for that. If you're going to have a big parent meeting, I'm going to either make it through Calendar or make it through Meet itself. That's why I showed you those two as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not going to, Classroom is just going to be like mainly me and my students, unless I have a Google Classroom as a parent center. If not, then I would just do a Google Calendar, put my parents on the Google Calendar invite, and send it to them that way.
Okay. All right. Thank you. This is
You're
great.
very welcome. If I teach 3 classes of math and 1 class of science, would it be better to set up a classroom for each block of students? Yes, Mary. I strongly suggest that. And on the webinars on my YouTube, I have a Google Classroom Basics. I definitely suggest that. And Sarah did an amazing Google Classroom Basics as well. So you have 2 different perspectives on Google Classroom Basics under the webinar section of my YouTube channel. Is Zoom better for parents meeting? There's really not a better, to be completely honest with you. There's a what bells and whistles do you want? So the stuff that I just showed you, which one would be better for you? If you just need like a simple meeting, I would use Meet. If I needed to do a little bit more, like a little bit more control over like muting and all that kind of stuff, then I'm going to use Zoom. So it's really just what tools are available for each one right now, and which one would make sense for what you want to do. If you're like, oh no, they can unmute themselves, they can talk, and you can just use Meet, But if I'm doing something like this with over 100 people, I have to use Zoom because I have to be able to mute everybody and that kind of stuff.
Okay. How have your breakout rooms gone? I have 4th graders, and I can see I don't know, how do you keep them from doing things or talking about things they're not supposed to? Or is that even possible?
It's not possible, just like it's not possible in real life. Like
Right.
That's what I tell them. They're like, how can I stop them from cheating? I'm like, do you stop them from cheating in real life? Like, I just keep bringing it back to like, you can only do so much, just like in real life. But one of the things is just like in real life, giving them a certain amount of time and keeping them engaged the whole time.
Okay.
So if I'm going to put you in a breakout room, I'm like, guys, you have 5 minutes to complete these 5 tasks. Let's go.
Okay.
You're not going to have time to do anything else.
Okay.
So like that kind of, and when we come back, each group has to report. So stuff like that, it's like, no, we got to get this. We got to be the only group not having stuff.
Okay.
So
Okay.
doing stuff, like you just got to keep using those classroom management skills.
Right. Okay, thanks.
4 classes in 1 meeting is, oh my goodness, yes it is. I agree with that, Sarah. Y'all are very, very welcome. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you so much for coming to Intro to Google Meet and Zoom.
What do you need for?